Detective Comics 965. James Tynion the Fourth, writing, Eddie Barrows on art. This is the first part of The Lonely Place of Living, which is Tim Drake's triumphant return to the main stage. Yep. And let me guess, it was making you giddy that throughout the first half of this, when he was in the sort of the Kryptonian prison, it was the same, the rings from the Superman movie. That was working for you, wasn't it, Matt?
Yes, there's a whole lot. So, I found a theory about Jor-El, which we'll probably talk more about in action.
Mm-hmm.
This issue, because this is my first read this week, like I couldn't wait to get to this. Kind of put holes in that just for it, the way that it treats Jor-El as the character, and the Kryptonian rings that we saw. But yeah, this issue just on its own, seeing Tim react to these things and get them fixing his origin, that he has the actual Tim Drake origin. Is quite nice.
I was actually going to try and squeeze in The Lonely Place of Dying this week for comparison's sake, to see like how much it matched and stuff and all the rest of it, but I never had time, unfortunately.
So what do you mean? What's The Lonely Place of Dying? Am I missing something?
A Lonely Place of Dying. That was his introduction. That was his first arc.
Oh snap! I didn't even realize that. So this is the title.
Wait, you didn't even realize the name was calling back to his opening story?
No.
Oh Matt, Jesus.
That's fantastic. That makes me like that even more.
I
already really dug this issue, but damn, Tynion, you're killing me, man. But yeah, so for people that don't know, when New 52 happened, they gave Tim Drake's origin of him figuring out that Bruce Wayne is Batman just through, being like picking up the small details. They gave that weirdly to Dick Grayson, and it upset a lot of people, myself included. So to see here, it gives a little recap of his origin and him through Dick Grayson this time, him figuring out who.
Which I liked. I liked the whole thing where he's like, Batman needs a Robin, and he tries to convince Dick to be Robin again because he needs that. Yep. And Dick's like, no, I'm Nightwing now. And, it leads to Tim, picking up the mantle and not intending to stick around necessarily, but he kind of gets a taste for it. And obviously all this is relevant because it's going to lead to, okay, who is the character of Tim Drake and what path could he go down, which we'll get to, at the end of the issue.
Right.
But, so the first chunk of this, the first half, 2/3 of it, are kind of like Mr. Oz watching... or asking Tim questions as we see the origin story of Tim Drake. That's kind of what the first chunk of the issue is, and all this very enjoyable. Especially if you've forgotten the origin, you want it cleared up, continuity wise, which is why I wanted to read the original story and sort of see how much, because I can't remember most of the original story. But
yeah, I need to read that now.
Yeah.
Shoot.
God damn it. So that's the first chunk, but. Tim actually is smart enough to get out of the trap. He's basically decoded, because he's worked with Kryptonian technology before via Superman, he's able to get his way out of it, and he does fight his way out. And that's when Oz reveals that he is Jor-El, as we know from action, although I'm still expecting a swerve, more on that later. Not that I have any guesses, admittedly, but I'm still expecting a swerve. So you get, and Oz basically leaves. He's like, you know what, you don't need to be imprisoned anymore, And, he doesn't name drop, but he says, he took an interest in you. Because you strive to, sort of unify everyone. So obviously we're thinking Manhattan from that. So even if this is Jor-El, or if it isn't Jor-El and he's pretending to be Jor-El, it is tying to Manhattan. The reason why he's here seems to be to do with, because he says he was a prisoner here as well.
Yeah.
Until whatever point.
He kind of became like the warden almost, because we know we've seen him collecting other people that can affect the mission going forward.
Yeah,
and so it makes sense that Jor-El was there first.
Yeah, and so we'll get to the end because obviously I've got thoughts and theories. So he puts out a distress call. He tries to put out a call to Batman and whoever's listening. This is Tim, still alive. I've been held captive. Blah 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 blah. What you expect, but someone answers. Someone from within the prison says, "Oh, I'm Batman. I'm here. Come get me." And he's like, "Oh, that's the cell next to me." And so it's not exactly who Matt was hoping for in the cell next to Tim.
No, not at all. So at first I got really upset and I might have thrown my iPad. Actually, that's not true. I didn't throw my iPad. In case my wife listens to this. But what it led to, I liked. Well, I won't say as much, but I liked a whole lot because of what Tynion has set up.
And multiple books, might I add.
Yeah, and also it goes hand in hand with my pet theory of who else might show up with the whole Titans of Tomorrow.
So,
you know?
yes, so basically he goes to this cell that was next to his, and we see Batman in there, right, from behind.
Yep.
But then the next full page spread is Batman like pulling out a gun and shooting it. And it's like,
Yep.
That's not right. And of course Tim's immediately like, that's not right. Batman wouldn't use a gun. Why are you using
Batman
a gun?
doesn't use guns.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And he figures out who this is. This is
Yeah.
Tim Drake. This is future Tim Drake. And of course, if you've been reading Batwoman, issue 6
Yeah.
of Batwoman, we saw this future where Tim Drake becomes this militant Batman who takes control of Gotham and is kind of fascist. And it's like, oh man, this is all kind of tying together. And what's beautiful about this, because to tie this into Action Comics a little bit, it's kind of impossible not to kind of relate them now because they're both dealing with Oz and Jor-El and what's going
They're
on.
pretty parallel.
But the big thing here is, in Action Comics, Jor-El, through presumably Manhattan, who's put him in places and saved him and shown him stuff, has seen that human beings aren't worth saving and that we can't do it this way. And Tim Drake seems to be this embodiment of, he becomes darker, he becomes this cynical version of himself, which is the whole thing that we've been talking about ever since Rebirth started with Manhattan, and he's cynicism coming to DCU, and the DC characters need to rise up and be heroes, and optimism, and so this is the evil Days of Future Past Tim Drake that we're seeing.
Yeah, and so I brought up Titans of Tomorrow, which was a Jeff Johns story arc that was pretty early on in his Teen Titans run. I'm trying to remember where exactly it showed up, but the Teen Titans come back. They try to get back to Earth from time traveling with the Legion of Superheroes, and they end up in the future where everything has gone dark, and the Teen Titans are the new Justice League, but like Tim Drake has taken full-on control, and he uses a gun, and that doesn't sit well with Tim, and he's using Connor Kent, Superboy, as the new Superman, as a puppet, and kind of to do his bidding, and Wonder Girl and Beast Boy, and who is more primal and savage, and it just, the fact that it's built on that and it's the same kind, I'm disappointed in myself for not piecing that together sooner.
It's harkening back to a lot of different stories from the previous continuity, while it's also fitting into the idea of what Manhattan's doing and what Rebirth kind of is at the core thematic level.
And to realize that Johns is the architect of all this, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. Because that's always that's been his, not his fallback to a story, but any of his major things is, this is what happens when heroes go corrupt. The universe is going to kind of rebel against it. Well, what if it's the opposite? What if someone else is trying to push it into that direction?
Yeah.
How do the heroes respond?
And to look at it from a personal point of view, just for this arc for Tim, it's going to be him fighting against himself, becoming something he doesn't want to be. Which, given that he never even decided, he never even wanted to be Batman, he says that repeatedly in this issue.
No, he was leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right before Batman thinks he dies, he was going off to college.
But this is the thing.
The hero game behind.
Is this more of like a warning sign to him that he needs to leave? Yeah. Because if he stays and keeps the cape on, does he eventually become this because of that?
Yeah. Because when he brings up that Batman doesn't use a gun, Tim Drake of Tomorrow is like, oh no, this is the gun that killed Martha and Thomas Wayne. I'm reusing it. I'm taking back its meaning. And that undercuts Batman's mission, who I always look at Tim Drake as the natural successor to Bruce Wayne, because Dick Grayson is his own man. Like, he's, that was always his thing, is he was meant to be the counterpoint to Batman's darkness. Whereas Tim was like basically Bruce Wayne 2.0. And, where was I going with that? I don't
know. Well, I would say, I feel like it's funny now because Tim clearly here is a bit more reluctant to ever want that, and maybe that could be interesting that he's the reluctant Batman, but becomes it anyway. Yeah. But then you have Damian who wants to take that throne. He wants that mantle.
Well, he's darkness going towards the light, whereas it seems like Tim is lightness going towards the dark. it just, this is Tim Drake's story, and this issue was real good because when we got to the Batman of Tomorrow and it wasn't Connor Kent, I went, damn it. Oh, but wait, what does this mean for the Batwoman story we just read? And is this a callback to that Titans of Tomorrow story, which I feel it has to be because they called him Tim Drake of Tomorrow or Batman of Tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it'll tie in any other way, but I think thematically it's definitely pointing back at it and saying, yeah, this is kind of like following that idea.
So, but yeah, very exciting stuff. So Tynion is like, he's near becoming my favorite Batman writer just because of all the stuff that he's doing. And then it's not with Batman. That's the irony of it, because he's made Clayface awesome, and he's made, we already thought Stephanie Brown was awesome, but but Cassandra Cain, great. So Luke Fox, all these side characters, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see where this actually goes now, because obviously the ending of the issue is that Doomsday, who we know is in there, breaks out.
Yeah.
So we've got two Tims to deal with Doomsday, but I'm curious as to by the end of this arc, is Tim back in the real world with the team?
Yeah.
Is that where we are by the end of this arc? I imagine probably, but we'll see.
Yeah, because Oz tells him that Bruce knows that he's alive.
Yeah.
So that's the driving force, and that's why he thinks this Batman is Bruce there to help him out, and it turns out to be himself. And which I guess that's the ever-telling thing is Batman's gonna save him, but it's not the one that he thought, and it's himself. He can only Tim can get Tim out of this. If that makes sense.